this computer. Hello, this is Christina Caudill with Radiant Astrology, and I am here for the free webinar on Illuminating Eclipses, where we're going to dive deep into this eclipse season. We're going to look at the anatomy of the eclipses. For those of you who are curious what the difference is between a regular new moon and a solar eclipse. And I just wanted to welcome everyone and say happy solar eclipse. We are just a few hours away from the Capricorn solar eclipse. And that is a major party happening in Capricorn. Lots of planets there. We'll look at the chart. We'll look at the significance. Before I go too far, I want to introduce my beautiful and amazing co-hosts. I have Daniela, you made it. Yay, Daniela Veras. Looking gorgeous as usual. And you've got your girl, is that Isis in the background?
Yes, it is. Big mama energy, you know, for the Cancer Capricorn axis.
Yeah, and she is a walking, living, breathing example of Cancer Capricorn because Daniela has her node. You're having your nodal return. South node in Capricorn, North node in Cancer. Okay, party. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And we've got Lucy, our angelic, gorgeous Lucy from the UK.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well.
How are you feeling this eclipse?
Well, it's right on my natal moon.
That's right.
So, yes, curious times.
A little moody, maybe?
I'm feeling good, actually. I'm feeling good. It's been, I've been kind of being very careful about grounding and just staying focused in that way. So just, you know, really being called to be anchored and grounded, and that's helping. So, and it helps to have you guys as well.
Wonderful. Don't ground too much because we love how high vibe you are. You're the one that lifts us up to the clouds. And I just want to welcome everyone for joining us. We're on Zoom, and also hi to everyone in the Facebook on the Radiant Astrology page on Facebook. I just wanted to also let people know here on Zoom, you can ask questions in the Q&A. I'll try to get to them later. And what we're going to do today is this time I have a presentation. I have slides. Because when I like to actually teach some astrology, I'm a visual person myself. So it kind of really helps to put things sort of in a visual perspective when we're talking about the planets and how they relate to each other. For those of you that caught our 5-day Ignite Your Enlightened Warrior, we had so much fun. We had an amazing group of people. Lucy and Daniela, don't let me forget, at the end, I need to announce our giveaway winners. We had some amazing giveaways that we're giving away for 3 people who were on social media and sharing everything, and we had some really awesome shares. So we'll get to that eventually. And so stay tuned. And we'll also invite you to our Eclipse Circle, which starts tomorrow. It is a 6-week online eclipse circle of spiritual awakening and cosmic wisdom. We do astrology, we do rituals, we do grounding exercises, all within a women's sacred circle. And it's so beautiful. This is our 4th year doing it. So I highly recommend it, of course, and you'll get all the details at the end of the webinar. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen. What was that popped up? Okay, there's Facebook. Let me see. I think this is how you do it. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay? You see everything good? Okay. All right. Let me see if I can move. I have all this little stuff here. So this is Illuminating the Eclipses. I'm Christina Caudill with Radiant Astrology. And we are in eclipse season. The solar eclipse will be exact in just a few hours. And really, eclipses are just such sacred times that we have such a history of humanity really honoring the eclipses. And there's a reason for that. You know, we think that astrology and everything is so new agey. Well, actually, it's not new agey, it's old agey. But it's actually such a blessing that in the modern age, we can access this wisdom and we can see and accept and honor the timelessness of it. Okay, so in this webinar, we're going to explore a little bit of the history and the anatomy of eclipses. I know history and anatomy were not my favorite subjects in school, but when it comes to eclipses, it's actually so fascinating. So we'll just give you a taste of that so that you can understand them, get more clarity on this fascinating phenomena. We're going to learn about the potential significance for the collective about eclipses and in our personal lives and our path of destiny. We'll take a deep dive into the astrological symbolism so that you can more gracefully navigate the shifts of consciousness, right? Grace is something that can be challenging to navigate when you are in this disorienting time of eclipses, but you can do so when we have more clarity and more trust in the experience. And you'll be invited to join our 6 weeks Women's Transformational Eclipse Experience. Sorry, guys, it's just for women for now, but we start tomorrow. We already have a beautiful group of, I forget what is it, 16 people already? And we have room for a few more spots, so don't delay. Join us today. If Daniela and Lucy, if you don't mind putting maybe the link for that in the comments, so people can take a look at that too. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. My slide bar isn't in the way. So, you know, the ancient Chinese really have the longest history of studying and recognizing the eclipses. Now, throughout the world and throughout history, there were so many theories about what was happening with the sun and with the moon. And the Chinese thought it was a dragon that would swallow the sun during a solar eclipse and bite the moon during the lunar eclipse, turning it red. And when we look at the history of so many different ancient civilizations, they had something similar, you know, whether it was a dog or whether it was a snake or whether it was, you know, some other kind of evil being doing something to attack their sun and their moon. And the interesting thing is in terms of the Chinese, they put it on the emperor. It was his responsibility to bring back the sun and to heal the moon. You know, and you see this in some indigenous cultures and stuff that really feel like we need to do something to make the sun rise in the morning, you know, like we need to give our energy to it, rather than in the modern day, we tend to think these planets are like gods and we're just at their puppets at their will. You know, the ancients really felt that it was the responsibility of humanity to help heal this precious gift of the sun and the moon. So I think that's something really beautiful. I mean, we know that, you know, the sun and the moon are going to do their dance anyway, but do we have a responsibility to them? We'll kind of contemplate that and see, you know, what would it mean that we took on a responsibility to the cosmos rather than just constantly taking from it. And now astrology was pretty much invented by people who were tasked with figuring out when eclipses were. Again, with the Chinese, they thought that the sun symbolized the emperor and his family. And they could tell when there were certain lunations what kind of emperor they would have because of the quality of the sun and the moon, how fast it was, or whatever would say something about how fast he would be able to punish people or how slow he would be at punishing people, that kind of thing. And so when eclipses happened, they felt it was really significant for the leader, for the emperor and his family, and they often would see that. You know, they say that leaders and kings, really, type of leaders, were born and die around eclipses. And eclipses just signify significant events. There is an ancient story that the first two ancient astrologers in China, they failed to predict an eclipse. There was a solar eclipse that made the sky go dark, and they didn't tell the emperor about it, and they were executed. Now, whether or not that actually happened that way, we're not 100% sure, but that is where astrologers woke up and said, "Ooh, we need to figure this out," because the fate of our civilization depends on what's happening in the sky. And just some examples of some eclipses in history, some significant dates. They say the birth of Muhammad was on an eclipse. Jesus was said to have been crucified on a solar eclipse. Einstein's theory of relativity was proven on a solar eclipse. Now, I'm not so versed on that, depth of science and the theory of relativity, but at that time in 1919, that was a major paradigm shift of humanity. Trump was born on a lunar eclipse. Prince William was born on a solar eclipse. And Princess Diana died on a solar eclipse. I remember where I was when Princess Diana died. That was very, very, very shocking. It seemed like the whole world was grieving that. And Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, was born on a lunar eclipse, right? So we have solar eclipses and lunar eclipses showing up in significant lives of people who have really affected the collective, for better or for worse, but significant figures. Eclipses occur about twice a year, and I say usually in pairs, because last summer we had 3 eclipses in a row, but it's more typical that we have 2. And they happen every 6 months, right? So every 6 months, we're going to get a pair of eclipses. So they're fairly normal, they're fairly regular. And a solar eclipse is a new moon, okay? So we don't have a solar eclipse plus a new moon, right? We have new moons every month, just as we have full moons every month, right? 2 weeks apart. What makes something a solar eclipse is it's a new moon and it happens to be really close to the moon's nodes, conjunct the moon's nodes. And I'll explain a little bit about that later. A lunar eclipse is a full moon conjunct the moon's nodes, okay? And it drives me absolutely nuts to hear people that put themselves out as moon goddesses or whatever, cosmic wisdom people, and a eclipse is coming and they don't call it an eclipse. They're still ignorant to what an eclipse is. It's so easy to know. Again, every 6 months, we're having pairs of eclipses. Every 6 months, 2 pairs of eclipses. And I'll give you the dates of them for this year today, so you can have those. But eclipses, even though if it may feel like a regular day or you don't see anything different happening, when it comes to the cosmic clock, we know that significant cycles are beginning and ending, like even more significant than new moons and full moons. So if you know that there is something to this astrology thing, that there's something to the lunation cycle, you really want to pay extra attention to the eclipses. So for this year, we're coming up on the first eclipse today. We've got a solar eclipse today at 15 degrees Capricorn. And then in 2 weeks, we have a total lunar eclipse January 1st or 21st at 0 degrees Leo. Total means, more closely conjunct the nodes. So that really means that there's extra juice to that. Then we have a total solar eclipse July 2nd in Cancer. So again, the Cancer Capricorn axis is coming up. A lunar eclipse July 16th, 24 Capricorn, right? So you can see we've got Capricorn today, and then the last of the Leo eclipses. Leo's and Aquarius and the fixed signs, you guys are about to be off the hook soon after this one last party. And then Cancer Capricorn, as you can see, in the summer. And then we have the next pair of eclipses is like straddling the end of the year. We've got one the day after Christmas at 4 Capricorn, and then January 10th, 2020 at 20 Cancer. All right, so Cancer Capricorns, and in fact, all of the cardinal signs, that includes Aries and Libra, and Cancer and Capricorn, it's our time now. It's like we're on. So we want to really pay special attention to eclipses. And so, what's really powerful about the eclipse season is the period between eclipses. right? So we often refer to it as the eclipse vortex. So it's the period between the solar and lunar eclipses. Sometimes we have a lunar eclipse first, sometimes a solar eclipse first, but it's always going to be a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. And so the portal is opening, right? I mean, it actually begins sort of, there's a ramping up 2 weeks prior, and then the first eclipse opens this portal, this liminal space between eclipses, where the veil between the consciousness and the subconscious is thinner, right? We live in a world, in a society that puts the primacy of the ego at the heart of everything we do and everything we are. We think our whole life depends on our will, our decisions, what we will ourselves to do, how strong our ego is. And times like these eclipses, we start to see all of this material from the past, stuff that we sort of thought that we had, maybe trauma, maybe feelings of not good enough, feelings from childhood, past lives, really start coming up, and it's worthwhile to look at them and review them and release that which is no longer serving us. We tend to see a lot more fated events, synchronicities. Jung called synchronicity when events happen and they really take our attention. I mean, we could potentially have synchronicities happening all the time, but when something happens where it's like the hair on your arms or back of your neck stands up, maybe someone, like, you both saw 222 at the same time of day, whatever it is, but that it's almost like a message is meant for you, even if you can't articulate it, even if you can't grasp it with your mind. But when your body is telling you something important is happening here, that tends to be a synchronicity. And we see them more during the eclipse vortex. These themes of destiny, I was destined for some kind of experience, right? I like to determine the difference between destiny and fate. Fate, there are some things that are fated. They are just written in the stars, and you feel like you never had a choice. I think with destiny, it's, okay, fate happened, and then how am I going to use my own personal choice to create from that? And then when you do so, knowing that the path is aligned, that the path is opening up for you, that's a sense of destiny. We tend to see the illumination from what is holding us back from fulfilling our destiny during the eclipse period. So start thinking about, what are the bigger lessons? When things start winding us up or disturbing us, what's the bigger lesson there? Maybe it's calling you to a different path, than you thought was possible. Decisions we make tend to have far-reaching effects and profound consequences, right? So this is really saying this time we want to really be conscious about any big, bold decisions we make. Now, I'm not going to say don't make any big decisions, don't move across the country and start a graduate program or whatever. I mean, sometimes it just feels like that is right. That is the right thing to do. There's times where it's like we can feel totally disconnected from this person we created, and we can just go for it. Other times it's simply knowing thyself even deeper, clearing all of that past so that you can actually come to a sense of peace once all that clearing is over. And a lot of that clearing comes through eclipse dreams, especially now we've got the sextile with Neptune right now. I mean, if you haven't been having dreams, definitely tonight and the next day, start really looking at what's coming through your dreams. And, I love what Toko Pa had said about dreams, is it's like it is an inner other who cares about you and who wants to get your attention for certain things. And once you start looking at them, they're not meant to be taken literally. They're not about, reprocessing memories or anything like that. It is simply getting your attention, and maybe you can make change then in your life. Dream work is incredibly powerful. I highly recommend it, especially during this time. And I want to make a difference between self-actualization versus creative self-expression. We hear a lot about being creatively self-expressed. And I think, you know, really, if we want to be fulfilled in life in some way, we need to be creating rather than just constantly consuming. But how can you truly be creatively self-expressed if you're not coming from a self that is really authentic? And so the step before that is the self-actualization, knowing thyself, aligning with the self that you are meant to be, you know, that you had chosen, your soul had chosen to be in this lifetime. So during this eclipse vortex, we have the potential for self-actualization, you know, and actually in the East, that's the goal of spiritual insight and the spiritual path is self-actualization. Is really understanding who you are at a soul level. I always love to refer to the Tibetan Buddhists when it comes to eclipses because they take them quite seriously. And they understand that the effects, positive and negative actions during eclipses are karmically multiplied. Right? So they're multiplied 1,000 times on lunar eclipses and 100,000 times on solar eclipses. We're in a solar eclipse now, so let's be very careful about our actions and our intentions. This is a time where prayer, meditation, and good deeds are most essential. You know, I know it was Caitlin Kopic from Sphere and Sundry posted a beautiful thing on eclipses, which I highly recommend, recommending even fasting. Because this is a time where we want to have a time of renewal and release. And I'll talk a little bit more about that because this is a South Node eclipse. And South Nodes are essential to release and purge. The ancient Chinese emperors during the eclipses, as I said, they were responsible for helping to heal the sun and the moon. And the emperor it was required that he ate a vegetarian diet. Hello for vegetarians. Vegetarian diet, removed himself from public life, and did humble acts of service, you know, like cleaning the temples and stuff like that. I can imagine that would be very much of an ego, you know, very humbling one's ego. But this is what we tend to do for the eclipses in order to honor this alignment of the sun, moon, and the earth. The Buddhists believe that all new moons and full moons are days of observation, observing the self. I mean, the Buddhists apparently work every day. They don't take a day off except for new moons and full moons, where they're not even taking it off fully. They are observing the self, right? That's the work of those days. And I highly recommend during eclipses, you know, if you can't do it twice a month, then at least for eclipses, we want to take some time. So after we complete this webinar, I want everyone going to meditate. Okay, we can all connect in a sangha spiritually, and actually in our eclipse circles, that's what we do once a week. We do a meditative sangha, and we send each other energy, and it's amazing how uplifting that can be. Okay, and so a little bit on the anatomy is, so any solar eclipse, right? It's like the moon is between the sun and our home Earth, and it's aligned with the nodes. And so, you know, those of you who saw that total solar eclipse last year or 2017, you know that by casting a shadow on the Earth, that's what gave us that sort of twilight in the middle of the day. It was so amazing. So now that's usually when we have a total solar eclipse. This is a partial solar eclipse we have right now. So it's not going to be quite that aligned anywhere. But even if we don't see it in the sky, you know, we know something's happening. We know that it's working us. Our subconscious knows. I mean, plants and animals know. So there is something happening. And so we have the gift of being able to know when the eclipses are. We want to honor them. a solar eclipse, so it's the sun is being eclipsed by the moon, right? So the moon is in the path of between the sun and the earth. The sun represents our ego. It's our vitality and confidence. You know, it's the central focus of our life. When we think about our purpose, we also think about like the sun focused on something that gives us a purpose. It gives us our priorities and our potential. And it's about our visibility in the world. And so it's a power outage followed by a power surge. So a lot of times we see lights going out, sort of just for that brief time, the days around the eclipse itself, in order so that we can sort of cook in that alchemy of the eclipse. And over time, we get our vitality back, but maybe not in the same way. Now, that's, of course, it affects everybody differently. If it's affecting your chart, you're going to really feel it. I've seen people who've had an eclipse on their sun, and some people have said they felt invisible. And it's strangely, you know, it's because there's something happening with their solar light that the universe is saying it's time you shift it. And in order to get that light to really shine again, you may need to go dark. And that tends to be what happens in a solar eclipse. You know, the solar eclipse is obscure the light of the sun and cast a shadow upon the earth. The present is blotted out by the past. So the past starts coming forward. The past karma, past shadow material. And so that's why it can be very stirring. Again, it is a very powerful new moon. And those of you that pay attention to new moons, you know how that can really be a time of turning inward. And asking yourself, where am I needing more nourishment? Where do I want to start planting seeds in my life? What am I committing to for myself in my life? Okay, oops, wait, sorry, I think I went too far. Okay. Okay. So then we've got the Capricorn solar eclipse. Today is a new moon, as I said. It's at 15 degrees Capricorn. It's exact at 5:28 p.m. Pacific, 8:28 p.m. Eastern time today. And so the Saros family of eclipses, right? It's called the Saros series. Bernadette Brady, The Eagle and the Lark, a great book on the eclipses, talks about the themes for each of the solar eclipses and what this family represents. For this one, it talks about the desire to connect with, quote, unusual groups, often around healing, the arts, and the love of humanity, which could turn out to be highly enriching. And I think that is a perfect opportunity to talk about our eclipse circle that's starting. And believe me, I didn't choose this. This is what she said about this eclipse, which is really interesting because this is a Capricorn eclipse, and we don't think about groups and connecting and, you know, enrichment and all this stuff. But for this eclipse family throughout time, and this eclipse family started like in 300 something or 200 something, you know, this is the theme. So think about, you know, who are you connecting with? And we were saying the other day in our series, Daniela was saying that the 5 people you surround yourself with are a reflection of who you are becoming. And that is so true. So even start thinking about it, because this is Capricorn, right? Capricorn is about being practical and about taking steps toward self-improvement. And so, you know, what's missing in your life? What communities are missing around potentially healing and the arts, the love of humanity? The Sabian symbol for this eclipse is school grounds filled with boys and girls in gymnasium suits. You know, Sabian symbols kind of give you this like interesting vision, and you kind of like intuitively feel into it. So again, that sounds kind of fun to me. And I was just earlier hearing some kids from next door like going crazy playing and everything. I hear them every now and then on a Saturday, but I thought, wow, maybe that's part of why this doesn't feel like a typical, you know, solar eclipses tend to be very inward focused. And there is that happening. But we also have the potential to have some community connection here. And the tarot card for the face of this eclipse is the Three of Pentacles, which is about teamwork, collaboration, learning, implementation. I mean, here again, we're talking about connecting with others. And in Capricorn, I would even think of connecting with others who are on your level. When you raise your game, you need to raise your tribe, right? You know, and you can still have fun and you can still collaborate. And so again, you know, Capricorn, and I'm very Capricorn, I'm a triple Capricorn, but you know, think of it as all work, no play, just, you know, the lonely goat going up the mountain. But here is a message from this eclipse that you don't have to do it all alone. That maybe it's better that you don't do it all alone. Maybe it's better that you're inspired by a tribe. You want to look at your chart, see what house 15 degrees Capricorn, so that's the mid degrees, falls in your chart. And that will tell you where this potential new moon is starting a cycle. Again, new moons are cycles of beginning. And we tend to see a flowering in about 6 months from that new moon. But eclipses can change your path for years to come. So you want to keep that in mind. What planets are in the mid degrees of your chart? 13 to 17 degrees. Of actually any of the signs around 15 degrees, a planet there is going to be activated. However, we especially see it with the cardinal signs for this eclipse. So that would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So the likelihood that you'll be affected by this eclipse, if you have any planets in the mid degrees, very likely. Okay. And this is the chart of the eclipse. You can see this huge party in Capricorn. And, you know, the words party and Capricorn don't usually go together. But, you know, we have Mercury just entering Capricorn today, I think. I don't think it entered yesterday. It just entered Capricorn. And then we've got, you know, we've got the eclipse right here is the sun and the moon, and it's right in between these heavy hitters, heavy karmic hitters, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, right? So it's extra pressure for this crucible of alchemy to be cooking, to be deepening. And then we've got the South Node in Capricorn, right? It just moved in there in November. The South Node, you know, so that's what's the paradox here. A new moon is starting something new, seeding a new cycle, yet the South Node is saying there's some release that needs to happen. So perhaps a lot of purging of rigidity, purging of the shadow of Capricorn. You know, we were talking earlier, I was talking with my my friends Lucy and Daniela about the concept of boundaries. You know, boundaries can be very helpful, but now with South Node in Capricorn and North Node in Cancer, the sign of nourishment, the sign of the feminine, maybe our boundaries need to be somewhat porous. Maybe they need to be a little more flowing and flexible. And, you know, the South Node is saying there's something from the past, some way of being from the past, that it's time to transform. And the need of transforming is showing through this South Node of release. Okay. And then in 2 weeks' time, we'll have the lunar eclipse. Now, this lunar eclipse has been really hyped big time in the collective, in like the news and stuff like that. It's like, can we just get through the solar eclipse first? And then we'll start talking about the lunar eclipse. But, you know, the lunar eclipse is a full moon conjunct the lunar nodes. I don't want to be hearing about a full moon in Leo. I want to hear about a lunar eclipse in Leo. So those of you who are writers or memers or whatever, it's time you up your game and start calling an eclipse an eclipse. Because it's not that difficult, but it's worth that we honor them. So the lunar eclipse, again, is the full moon conjunct the lunar nodes. And so it's when the Earth's shadow falls upon the moon and the past is obscured by the present. So the past suddenly loses its grip on us for a brief period of time. You know, that's why I see a lot of times lunar eclipses, people moving home, or, you know, leaving home, or leaving something, a sense of home, because the moon symbolizes home. It symbolizes our attachments from the past. And a lot of times, you know, we can go for it. Something that's been keeping us stuck and tied to the past suddenly no longer like holds a grip on us at times. And it's considered more of a spiritual internal shift, the lunar eclipses, which is very interesting, because the solar eclipses, we tend to see events happening in the outside, you know, events happening around us, like actual things in our lives that get our attention. The lunar eclipse is a lot more of the internal work, because that's the moon that we rely on for our nurturance, for our sense of who we are, for our sense of intuitive direction, which we, especially women and more sensitive men, really rely on. And when that is off, when maybe our intuition isn't giving us quite that guidance anymore, we want to get quiet and see what is it that needs to be released. You know, the emotions can be high. Eclipses are times of culmination. We can really start to see the karmic repercussions of our intentions. And we can release conditioned habits. And these are, you know, again, this is about home, security, the feminine principle, nourishment. All of this stuff can start to again, really sort of cook in the subconscious. The January 21st full moon total lunar eclipse. Again, it's a total lunar eclipse, so it should be more heightened, right? Is it 0 degrees Leo, the very beginning sign of Leo, at 9:15 p.m. Pacific, 12:15 a.m. Eastern. The Sabian symbol: blood rushes to a man's head, and as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition. Okay, so what does that say to you? Blood rushes to a man's head. I mean, that says, like, is that anger? Is that vitality? Is that sexual drive? And it says it's about being mobilized under some kind of spur of ambition. So there may be this need to strike out. The tarot is 5 of Wands, which symbolizes conflict, disagreements, competition, and tension and diversity. Okay, so there's going to be some kind of competitiveness there potentially. Where does this, what house does the eclipse fall in your chart? So the lunar eclipse will be in 2 houses, 2 opposite houses, you know, the sun in one and the moon in the other. And so that's Leo Aquarius. Now, we've been having the Leo Aquarius axis lit up this past couple of years. This is the last eclipse in Leo Aquarius, even though the nodes have changed signs. So it may have a different quality because of the nodes, but it will be wrapping up a lot of the story from the last couple of years with Leo and Aquarius. So you'll be wanting to look about what planets are about 0 degrees in your chart and give it an orb of a couple of degrees either way. Those will be affected. And especially the fixed signs, those are our Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, in the early signs. I mean, the early part of the early degrees of the signs. One more chance for you to get your Leo lesson. And here we have the chart of the eclipse. We actually have a really beautiful Jupiter Venus conjunction in Sagittarius, Jupiter's home rulership. Jupiter expands things. Venus is what we love, what pleases us, our attractiveness. It is square to Neptune, though. I will say that can distort things. You know, we can be maybe overly confident or overly thinking we're not great people or something, you know, or it can really help to amp up our spirituality and what we love for escapism and for fantasy, right? So this is going to be an over-the-top one, and it's hard to say which way it'll go. But anytime we have Moon in Leo is over the top. It can be generous. It can be love bombs. It can be, you know, just really being the center of attention, showing your heart, that kind of thing. And it is opposite, you know, the sun in Aquarius, which is the collective. Now they're both squaring Uranus. Okay, Uranus, especially in Aries, this rebellion, right? This potentially some big rebellious energy in the collective and coming up in a big way, right? Maybe women will have something to do with it. We'll see about that. You know, the beauty of the eclipse vortex is the potential for transformation, right? And if you know anything about alchemy, alchemists were the early chemists, and they put together, you know, rather than playing with all the sophisticated materials they have now, it was putting in, you know, the blood and the guts and the this and the that, everything together, transmuting base metals into potentially noble metals, right? And the process was separation of the material, purifying the materials, reintegrating, and then hopefully having a new level of perfection with that material. And that is what we hope in terms of what we seek for transformation, right? We're always transforming. But because it seems like things are happening at such a fast pace with change in our society and our world, we need to keep up with that. And that means we need to transform too. And this is such a beautiful time to come together in a sacred community, right? We know that we don't always all the time get along with everybody. There's times when we have inner things coming up, inner stuff coming up that we need to deal with, that we're very sensitive and raw. It's very important that we have a safe container for that to come through. And so community is very important. This is why I created these eclipse circles. They go through the eclipses and then a couple of weeks after, so that we have a nice integration period, a nice come down. And again, it's a beautiful small group of women. If you're at all interested in that, I invite you to join us. We've already actually opened the energetic vortex for that. Our first call is tomorrow, but we're already creating a beautiful energetic vortex of welcoming. Let's see. So I'm done with that slide. Let's see. Let me see if there's any questions that I can answer in the chat box. Okay, so I have one from Beth Reiter. She says, I'm wondering if the eclipse will have less of an effect on me since I don't have much going on in Capricorn. I'm Cancer rising though. So that may, oh yeah. Because as I said, that we want to look at the cardinal signs, right? The cardinal signs will be most affected. And any planets or points you have in the mid degrees, right? So around 15 degrees. So you want to look at the degrees, but likely, you know, if you're Cancer rising, that means that your descendant is Capricorn. And so that's very important. The descendant in Capricorn, that's your relationships. So your relationships are going to be going through a deep transformation. They probably already have for some time, but the new moon there, the eclipse, solar eclipse new moon, is saying this is a new cycle beginning. And so let me see, sorry, I think I lost it. So think about your relationships. Are they stable enough for you? Are you taking them seriously? Is it time to start taking relationships seriously? And also, what relationships are you willing to commit to? Maybe there's something that needs to be released from a previous sort of concept around your relationships in order so that you can start a new cycle there. And that also affects your rising sign too, because when we are taking relationships seriously, then something in us and how we present ourselves and how we see ourselves may change. Okay, so, oh gosh, what talismans are you wearing? Well, the ladies there are wearing this. This is our Eclipse Circle Flower of Life that we give to all of the students of the Eclipse Circle. And it keeps us on the same energetic frequency. It's actually amazing how these things work. I also have to put a plug in from my talisman that I love. This is from Michael Ofek. He was the astrologer that did it, but I forgot who actually cast it. But this is a Spica, Jupiter on Spica, what I have, which is I have Spica on my midheaven. and it's incredibly magical. Love it. So thank you for that question, because I'm so proud and I love my talismans. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Alex Cooper says, Christina, can you please remind me what opens and closes an eclipse season? Thank you so much. I love this question. And you know what? I forgot to include a slide on that. But I'm going to answer it because you asked. So basically, in a general sense, right, we have two eclipses. In this case, it starts with the solar eclipse and ends with the lunar eclipse. To start the season, you know, we look at the lunations before and after that, right? So then we'll have like about a 6 week, 6 week period. So what did we have before? I can't remember what the full moon was that we had before this this new moon now, but you know, we looked for the lunation 2 weeks ago, and then the lunation after the next eclipse. Now, if you want to get technical, Bernadette Brady says something like, I think for a solar eclipse, the nodes have to be 19 degrees from the sun and the moon, and for a lunar eclipse, it's got to be 12 degrees or something like that. But essentially, you know, I like to use that, but I basically look at the lunation. So all you have to pay attention to is the you know, new moon or the full moon before and after the eclipses. So the entire eclipse season tends to be 6 weeks long. And I've had eclipse circles that have gone 6 weeks to 8 weeks long. This time, though, because of the holidays, you know, we're starting like right now. So we're starting when we're in it. And hopefully, you know, we'll be able to go through the alchemy of the eclipses together, and then afterward have a little bit of a come down together. That's the intention. Let's see. My ascendant is 5 degrees Capricorn. I got to answer that because my sun is 6 degrees Capricorn, and I have Chiron in the first house and 19 degrees Capricorn. Your feedback. Well, I mean, you know, this is the thing is, when you are looking at your chart, you want to really have a question in mind. What is it that you're going through? And what is it you want help with? You know, that's how you can really get the best out of an astrologer. Just FYI there. Chiron in the first house people are said to actually, because we know Chiron is the wounded healer. In the first house, it's very prominent, right? But that's also the maverick. And so Chiron in the first house people can actually be very good at knocking down obstacles in their way and become actually the maverick of their lives, to really embody their sense of identity, because it's so important that you have your own sense of identity. It's important actually that you don't keep looking to other authority figures, Capricorn, but yet you embody your identity. You know, a lot of times, because I have something similar, Chiron and Aries, which is again about our identity, and we can take on other people's identity, you know, because we do that when we're in such a rush to prove ourselves, and we don't take time to get to really know ourselves and to share what's precious about us. So this is a really powerful eclipse for you. The Chiron. Okay, so you have Chiron at 19 degrees because it will be affecting your Chiron. And so what needs to be healed around your sense of shame, around your sense of personal authority, and your physical body even too? You know, what needs to change? What do you need to let go of that no longer serves who you're becoming in the world, your sense of presence? That sense of presence is very important right now for you. Let's see. Okay. Well, we're almost to the end of the hour. If I have more time, I'll get to some of these more questions, but let me see what my gals are up to. Lucy, do you want to share with us a little bit about what you bring to the eclipse circles and what your intention is for this season?
Hi, yes, thank you. And that was such a brilliant, fascinating presentation, Christina. I feel like I feel really supported in moving into this experience. So thank you for that. So my intention for this eclipse experience that we're going into together is to be held by the frequency of compassion and unconditional love, and to bring that into every aspect of what I am in the world, and to allow that to permeate through my cells. So the work that I am doing in the Enlightened Warrior Eclipse Circle is I'm there as a support. I'm there as a guide. I'm also there to every week to be bringing in some knowledge and some practical ways that we can really start to work with our spirit guide team in a way that is tangible, in a way that is supportive, and in a way that also helps us to expand and to elevate and to move forward with empowered action. So I'm there as a cheerleader for you as you really step into this incredible energy, this inspired momentum, and I'm there to support you and to cheer you on in that way.
Oh yeah, and you're the best at getting us right into the space of peace, because we can come from so much chaos out there, because almost like our internal chaos is just like becomes part of the outward chaos, and back and forth like that. And so you bring such a beautiful energy of peace. It's amazing. I feel like even if I haven't meditated in like a month or something, then I feel like I'm meditated when I talk to you. I did want to, and you think you said you were going to recommend how to do like a little manifesting meditation for this eclipse today.
Yes. So there was a couple of questions actually earlier about grounding at this time, and someone was saying that their sleep patterns had been a bit disturbed, and you're not alone there. I've had weird sleep patterns. So that's part of this working in this way, as we harness the energy of this time. So this is a really empowering time, actually. And my main tip that I can give you is to practice something called heart coherence, which is really very simple. It's about focusing your attention on the heart space and breathing in as if you were breathing into the heart, and then exhaling out of the heart. So imagining that there was an extra node here in the heart, essentially. And whilst you do that and you focus on the deep breathing in through the heart and out through the heart, take yourself back to a time, any time, whichever one comes is the right one, to when you felt completely in awe and wonder in nature, when your whole body was just blissed out by your surroundings. When you have that memory, breathe that in, breathe that into the heart. That is what is called heart coherence. So you can find out more about that from the Heart Math Institute. And we go a lot more into that work in the Eclipse Circle. We'll be going much deeper into those tools and those skills and techniques that we can all start to use in our everyday practice. But today, what I would like to invite you to do is to just check in with your heart space. So we can do this together if it feels right for you. So closing your eyes and taking your awareness to your heart. And as you do so, just take a lovely, deep, spirit-centered breath in through the heart and out through the heart. As you do so, just bringing all of your energy into alignment now, wholly and completely with the breath. And this is the perfect time as we enter into this eclipse portal to connect with the priorities of your heart and to invite in a partnership with the conscious universe. And as you get quiet and you honor the magic of stillness, just focusing on that heart chamber, allow your energy to expand a little wider. And as you do so, just allowing your awareness to extend a little further. And just for a moment, ask yourself, what secret treasures woven into my very cells of my being are unfolding at this time? Hmm. And what is my heart calling me to birth in my life right now? And just take a moment for your own wisdom that is held within you to come to the surface. And when you feel ready, come back into the space. Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Lucy. That is just, every time she does that, I just feel that. Do you guys feel that? I mean, and this is the kind of, and I see Daniela like, yeah, this is the kind of healing that we need during this time of the eclipses. And as I said, we meet every week, every Sunday on Zoom for an hour, sister circle where Lucy heals us. I give you some cosmic wisdom and support. And we also have Daniela Veras, who is one of our most confident people I think I've ever met, like in my life. And she like is our confidence master here.
Hi, everyone. I'm a little loud. It's going to be a little bit of a change of pace from Lucy's very grounding waviness because I am here to light you up.
Uh-oh.
Yes, because so I've been doing these circles with Christina forever, it seems like, and so what I'm here to do in a sense is to be sort of like your um, dream doula, your spiritual Sherpa, you know, like a good Capricorn climbing up this mountain, helping you do the work, keeping you on task, lighting you up and reminding you who you are whenever you forget. You know, one of the great things that we do in this circle, and that I implement this in my daily life. I'm also an evolutionary astrologer myself. So I look at these transits, I look at what's happening, and I sort of work with the energies to my benefit. So I'm not working against what's actually going on. And so when you're in the circle, you don't have to know everything about astrology. You don't have to know everything about evolutionary astrology specifically either, but we will give you the tools and let you know where these, for instance, where and how these eclipses are activating your personal chart and how you can work with that energy. How, what the seasons, the eclipse season is helping you to do, how you can continue to work with that. And for me personally, as someone who's come out of a very intense eclipse transformation for myself personally, I mean, I have, for those of you who have Cancer or Capricorn on the ascendant or descendant, I just went through that with the Leo Aquarius axis. And that's been hugely transformational for me. And I couldn't have done it.
That you aligned with, what were you aligning with, you think, during that time?
Well, during that time, what I was aligning with was myself and my relationship to others. I mean, it really helped me to develop a very strong identity coming out of my shell, really stepping into who I am, which I see other, like, I remember the very first video I did for the Eclipse Circle, and there was and yes, there is a sense like a bubbliness, and I'm still very effervescent and all of that, but I feel more grounded in my truth and in who I am and speaking from that place. You know, versus in the way that what was happening, it was also working through contrast, working through, you know, the relationships, working like, who are they, who am I, and really stepping into that. So having these experiences throughout all these eclipse seasons, it's like, I really feel like I've been, you know, on Everest, like a good Capricorn South Node, been up there. I mean, I can.
Oh my God. Okay, she's paused.
Like, you know, you're giving birth to yourself. You know, it's like, it's because I find that's what I do best for people. I am not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of, there's nothing you can say in the safe space of our circle that's going to be shocking or where you have to be ashamed. It's like you can unravel and really let those things out so that we can heal. You know, and I've been so grateful to have that space and have these beautiful women supporting me, giving me love, giving me and being able to share that also, to share that safe space, to share that unconditional love, to share that wisdom, and to make that transition easier. It's like, if you guys ever hear of like you could scale the mountain by yourself, sure, totally no problem. But if you've got someone like holding your hand or telling you the way to go and say, you know what, you probably don't want to take that side because there's a big old boulder there you might trip up on, you know what I mean? It's like, it makes it that much better, that much with ease for you, So what I'm here to do is basically that, is with my experience, with the knowledge and wisdom that I'm able to share. And not only that, but it's just like really, I'm really great at identifying talent and value in people and seeing what they are and really mirroring, reflecting that back to them, and I know okay, there's so I don't want to keep letting this go on and on and on. I'm like, there's like a heart resonance that's happening for me. There's somebody out there that I'm speaking to, that I feel that pull. And if you're listening right now, I hear you and I feel you and I invite you and I welcome you with open arms to come and join us. Join us. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the support that you've been looking for. This is the space that you've been looking for to really take off. We all need a soft, like a nice space to go to. We need to be witnessed. Okay, so if that resonates with you, if you're hearing that, I invite you. Come on in. The water's warm.
I'm in. I don't know. What about you? Are you in, Lucy?
I'm in. I'm getting like tingles. I'm like, yes. I'm in.
Yay, fun times.
Thank you. Aww, that's amazing. And just to see how you've I remember when I first met you, Daniela, and something happened, that somebody was being haunted or somebody you knew, and you were just like, there's something crazy going on. What is going, I need what was it you were looking for, like a Ghostbuster or something?
Yeah.
And then somehow you kind of started looking at the astrology, and I mean, next thing you know,
my very first Chiron reading, that was amazing. That changed my life. And I was like, I've been sold out since. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah. And so now you are a teacher yourself. You are attracting so much interest with all that you're sharing on social media. You've really come out of your shell in that way, in such a confident way. And so, we all have our different tones. It's interesting. We were saying that this is a 3-year, 2019, adds up to 3. And this is actually, the 3 of us have found our way together, grown in our way, where we are, we're not a mirror of each other, but we support who one another is being. And, we have a private Facebook group, and I love how these ladies come and take the temperature. I know, like Daniela, if it's too quiet in there, Daniela will raise the volume. Okay. So just fair warning with that. But, for the first time ever this year, we're actually giving even more value into this course, because I'm giving a 1-hour evolutionary astrology reading to every student. Lucy is giving a 90-minute soul path reading to every student. And Daniela is giving a 75-minute kick your butt activation for every student. That's a huge value. We have our calls on Sundays, so you don't even have to take time out of your week, right? It's a Sunday. We're all winding down together. We're all reflecting on the eclipse experience. And then you can rest up and get on with your week, right? So there's no excuses where you don't have any more time, because this is not taking much time out of your day. You're going to make friends for life. We have 4 course angels who are previous students, who are there to create smaller circles, to create a lot of care and a lot of love, and just really hold a container for witnessing for every student in the group. Let's see. I did want to make sure. She loves my lipstick, Melissa. Oh, thank you, because I wasn't sure I made the right choice. I did want to announce some of our giveaway winners. We had an amazing giveaway, and we had some great people sharing the Enlightened Warrior hashtag. the top winner is Saskia Luria from UBU on Instagram. She had some awesome video or some like images and stuff like that with me. And she wins the Astro Oracle reading from Daniela. Yay! She's going to get a 30-minute reading with Daniela doing Astro Oracle. It's going to be awesome. And what did you say, Daniela? It usually probably goes on longer, right? It's not going to. You can't promise 30 minutes.
Yeah, it can't promise it'll be 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes down longer depending on, you know, what your guides want to come through.
Awesome. And so then we've got Taryn Pyle, Pyle. You are going to get the audio album from Lucy. Lucy has these amazingly gorgeous meditation chants and songs. It's an album of 3 of them. And she's been getting so many requests. People want to buy them, but she has said, no, they're not for sale yet because they were made just for the Eclipse Circle. Right, Lucy?
That's correct. And they are filled with lots of love and magic, I can assure you.
And I highly recommend you follow Lucy on Instagram at Lucy Ann Shard, because she's gotten so many requests for these meditations that she said after the Eclipse Circle, maybe if she can come up with something special to share with the public, she'll do that. So, and our third winner is Nicole Ballantyne from The Matron online. Thank you so much for sharing. You're going to get my PDF on how to start and sustain a new moon circle. So I've got all of my juicy tips from creating my eclipse circles. And of course, new moon circles are a beautiful way of creating community with women or with just those who want to come together to honor these beautiful cycles. So I just wanted to invite anyone who is curious and listening. This is the last chance to join our Eclipse Circle for this season. We've given you a lot of a taste of how we work if you've watched our 5-day video. And actually the Eclipse Circle is less so a class and more of an experience, a transformational experience of the ancient wisdom of astrology. We call in our guides, the goddesses, the goddess asteroids. We're going to learn a little bit about them. You can find everything on, do we want to share the website one more time? EnlightenedWarriorEclipseCircle.com. We have some payment plans for those of you who want to take advantage of that. And we start tomorrow with our first sacred circle. It is our opening ceremony where we'll be calling in Mary Magdalene and calling back in our power, right? Because women have given away our power way too much over generations, and now we're calling it back through time to our circle, to each one of us. And it's going to be a beautiful experience. And I hope that if you're called, you will join us, because we have a really beautiful experience planned. Anything else, ladies, you want to share? Danielle, anything else you want to share?
I was just like, come to mama. I'm just really excited about what we've put together, what you 2 ladies have really graciously put together with the different goddesses that we're working with, you know, and there are different aspects in how they can serve us during each one of these weeks. I'm excited to share different rituals that you can bring in. We've talked about bringing heaven.
The Enlightened Warrior, you're leading that one.
I know, it's like the Enlightened Warrior is almost like such a part of me, of who I am, and how I've been able to basically just evolve and grow as a person. I mean, being able to face myself, face my demons, befriend my demons. Now I keep them on a very tight leash, you know, but they're very well behaved now, very well behaved. But it took a lot of courage of wanting to show up for myself. And I'm inviting any of you that is feeling like that sort of resistance, man, if you're scared, that's a really good sign, you know, because it means that you're really, really, really close to the next level of you being in your fullest and highest expression. You know, so all you got to do is take that first step and say yes to yourself and show up. That's all you got to do. And everything else we can lead you through. Everything else we can lead you and support you through. So it's like that little thing, that little curdling. It's like it feels maybe like a mix of excitement. So if you're starting to sense you're like, oh, I don't know, just say yes. Say yes to yourself. This is about you and allowing you to yourself to be supported and nurtured, which is a Cancer North Node, supporting, nurturing, self-care. But we're also giving you the foundation and the structure with which to do that and really do it successfully. Okay? These periods, especially for those of you that have it on the ascendant, are incredibly transformative. You may experience a lot of ego deaths. Don't be scared. But
we'll give the ego the final death knell there. I did want to say something though, Daniela, is that, you know, I'm a triple Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, Capricorn Mercury. And, you know, as Capricorns, we can feel like we just got to get stronger. We got to get more consolidated. We got to just do it all ourselves. But you know what? That's not what the cosmos is saying right now. We need that nurturant, that support. We need to learn to soften. We need to value that there is strength in softness.
Yay, Jeanette! Welcome!
Jeanette just signed up. Yes!
Oh, Jeanette just signed up?
Go, Jeanette!
Oh,
So excited.
oh, welcome, Jeanette. We're so honored to have you. And I wanted to take something from what Lucy had said that has become our motto in the group is, it is safe to be open. And so in our group, it truly is safe to be open. And so that is our intention. Lucy, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yes. Yay, Jeanette. I'm also just really, really excited, and I can feel it energetically. The whole energy is so open with this circle. I'm really excited to witness this enlightened warriorship flourishing. I think it's been coming for a long time, and I think that the time is now, and we are ready. We're ready for this, and we're ready to rise in the most magical way possible. And I'm just so looking forward to witnessing this and supporting this and being a part of it. So welcome and welcome. I can't wait to meet you.
Well, with that, again, we're so welcome that you're joining us, Jeanette, and anyone else who feels the call. Again, this is your last chance, and this is just a very, very special one. Who is that, Fanny? Oh my God! I gotta cut to Daniela whenever it's celebration time.
I'm like, ah!
Okay, Daniela, okay, I know that you're 100% sober, so instead of drinking champagne to celebrate, what do you do? Do you use like the two backflips?
I usually do like some pomegranate or beet juice, 'cause it looks like
Yay! Oh, that's amazing. And
I'm
Tamsin.
so
Hi, Tamsin. Oh, no. Wait, what'd you say? No, sorry. But thank you all so much. I don't know. You guys have anything else to say? We're kind of on a roll here. I guess we should wrap up. But let me see if there's any more questions in the chat box. I will so much say yes. Yeah, Clara says she wants to get back on her feet financially, single mom with 2 kids. Okay, totally. Pray for a miracle. We'll pray for a miracle with you too.
oh, yes.
And yeah, and so again, we do have payment plans. I mean, to be honest, I feel 100% confident with charging this rate. Lucy and Daniela have given 100% for me for years. And, you know, they used to not let me pay them. And now I'm insisting you are worth it. So honestly, we give it all. During eclipse season is actually usually an astrologer's busy time, but I close my doors. Sometimes I'll do some readings, but I really limit them because my energy and focus is in this eclipse circle, because these are the people who committed to this transformation. And we're doing it all because we're called to, you know, that this is really our sacred purpose. And so if anybody, you know, if you're listening and you're like, gosh, I want to live my life with more sacred purpose, then these are the wise women. This is the wise women circle that is calling to you and is where you belong. So this is really where you truly belong. So I hope that you will say yes and join us, those of you who are thinking about it. All right. So we are, I think we'll wrap this up. I'll put this up on YouTube later. It'll only be available for 48 hours. So please share with your friends. And if you have to watch it again, watch it again. But again, thank you so much. Let me see if I can do a gallery view. Happy eclipse. Wasn't this kind of a fun Capricorn eclipse? I mean, like, who would have thought?
I know. Like, I feel like whenever I just tap into you guys, I'm just like, woo! Because I'm like chilling for a second. Just like, and then I just start talking, I'm like, woo!
Oh my God, you're wild. Thank you. Oh, there's no more people I want to spend the eclipse with than you all and our beautiful circle. So
Same. Lots of love.
I'm so excited.